Hello everyone. So here I am with the review of the book Spring by Ali Smith. So earlier we discussed about the first narrative of the book where we discussed about Richard Lees, the director who was about to going to make a film on the memories which he shared with his muse Paddy. So now we are going to do this. Patricia was her name actually, but she was also known as Paddy. Like her loving name was Paddy. So now we are going to do the another review, which was the second one, which is the second one in the series. As I told you already, that I am going to have a session or a series of reviews on this book, because this book has three narratives. It's a frame narrative and it has three narratives. So each and every narrative, like out of the three ones, deserve a separate review. So now this one is about the girl, Brittany Hall. Also, she was known as Brit. So this girl is someone who works in an immigration UK immigration center, where they illegally hold the immigrants and keep them as captives or prisoners. And she was not happy with it. She was fighting the injustice within the office or within the in a organization herself. So she was not someone who was going to do anything about it also, because she was someone who was just she was very much pestered about all these things happening around her workplace, in her workplace. But also she doesn't have any say, and she doesn't do anything specific to change or alter the situation. But finally, eventually, when she was on a regular day to her work, she found this girl who was also initially known by the other members or the other colleagues of hers. And then she boarded a train to Switzerland, and then how one thing led to another, and they finally got to discuss a lot of personal things as well as a game. And eventually they meet this Richard Lees, this director person, and also there is a coffee van woman. So everything falls back right to place, as I discussed in the like initial introductory review also, that this book is actually about the circling, or can see the chronologically it's a circle, right? Each and every character meets another one. Also, it has many foreshadowing. The technique of foreshadowing has been used here. So what is foreshadowing is basically whatever is going to or about to happen in the future, or if you have, see, you get this feeling that this thing, it's not deja vu, it's different from that. It doesn't talk about the past. It talks about that if something is going to happen in future, right? So kind of a prophecy, like you also see in the movies, that when you get the feeling that okay, this character is going to die now, or this is going to happen to this personal this very character, and it actually happens, and you got this idea from a basic hint which was itself provided by the director only. So this is pretty much the same here. So they use this like Ali Smith uses this foreshadowing technique in this book. And also when everything comes back to like the previous story, or everything comes fall into a circle, so we get to know that how life is actually intervened with all those uh, peculiar instances and all those little bit instances of life where we share different memories, right? But ultimately it becomes it got connected or knitted with a thread, and it becomes very much the same. And it forms into one single story. Like the fragments get collected and present themselves as a single story. So this pretty much happens the same here. And apart from this, I'm going to read this beautiful page on which where the like the writer tells us about the description of spring, that how does it feel like and what it is about. So just give me a second, I grab the page for you all. Yeah, so here I'm going to read it. Right, okay, so the spring basically is known as the month where, like this, it's the month of February and March specifically. So here we will talk about March. Sorry, yeah, March. It can be pretty hard going. Lion and lamb, the cold shoulder of spring, month of the kind of blossom that could still be snow, month of the papery unsheathing of the heads of the daffodils. The soldier's month, it takes its name from Mars, the Roman war god. Its Gaelic is the winter spring, and in Old Saxon, the rough month, because of the roughness of its winds. True that, right? The winds actually get very rough in this time and this month. But it's also the lengthening month. Yeah, like March already has 5 weeks. Imagine. The one when the days begin to stretch, month of madness and unexpected mellowness, month of new life. Before the Georgian calendar, the new year started not in January but in March. Also in Hindu calendar, like according to Hindu customs, or according to Hindu mythology, the New Year generally usually starts in April or March. So yeah, there is a relation, or there's a resonance I can feel here. Also, yeah. So before the Georgian calendar, the New Year started not in January but in March. Also to celebrate both the vernal equinox and its tilt of the north towards the sun again. Like we have this Uttarayan in our culture, where this happens in January, Makar Sankranti. So this talks about how certain Christian mythological, according to some certain Christian mythological stories or mythology, the spring actually, the New Year actually supposed to begin in spring only, not in January, not in winters. So yeah, so this is it. And now in the next video, I'm going to talk about third narrative, and also all these three narratives as combined, as I just said a few minutes ago, that how these fragments of little fragments of these stories take a form of the new, or the entire, like the whole story or a single one, right? So I'm going to talk about the entire narrative, all these fragments of frame narratives into one complete story. Thank you.